What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So we are just going to address the elephant in the room. I am filming in a different location today. I hope the lighting is okay. I hope I look okay. It's been a really hectic day. Make sure you guys go check out the Week in My Life vlog to figure out why today has been a hectic day. But hopefully everything is looking okay in terms of the background. I've just been wanting to film in a different location today, and I finally have had the time to do so. So hopefully the lighting and stuff is good. I'm using natural lighting, and it's kind of going in and out because it's just one of those days. But yeah, today's video is going to be all about the difference in professional schools and just normal universities. So if you guys are new to my channel, I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science degree in forensic psychology, and I am now getting my master's degree in counseling psychology. And around this time next year, I will be starting the application process to get my doctorate degree in clinical forensic psychology. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of a background. And with me getting ready to start the application process for a doctorate degree, I have been doing some research on a lot of different schools. And if you are in the psychology field, then you know there are regular universities, so like Michigan State University or my alma mater, Western Illinois University. And then you have professional schools. So there's like the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, and then there's the Adler School of Professional Psychology. So when I say professional schools, those are the type of schools that I mean, and then regular, you know, your state universities or private universities or something like that. So I want to talk about the difference between those two, because a lot of people tend to go to both schools. It just kind of depends on the route that you want to take. So I want to talk about the difference in those, maybe a little bit of the pros and cons of each of those schools. So if you guys are looking into professional school, you kind of have a little bit more knowledge. Of course, you want to do your own research to determine which school would be best for you. But I just wanted to give you guys the knowledge that I have based on things that I have been told from my professors and just some research that I have done on my own. So we are just going to go ahead and get right into this video. So like I said, a professional school is going to be something like the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. I will use that school as like my primary example in this video, so you guys kind of like don't get confused. I'm sure there are a ton of more professional psychology schools out there, but that is just the one that I am more familiar with because I do live in the state of Illinois, and the Chicago School of Professional Psychology is in Illinois. They do have other campuses, but the main campus is in Illinois. So the biggest difference between a professional school and a regular university is the cost. That is the biggest difference. So a regular university is going to be cheaper than a professional school. Now, graduate school in general, especially a doctorate program, is going to be expensive no matter how you flip it or twist it or do whatever. It's going to be expensive. But if you look at the difference in prices for a graduate program at a professional school and a graduate program at a regular university, there is a big difference in pricing, simply because the main focus in a professional school is that profession, psychology. And depending on how you look at it, another difference and another con that you can say to professional schools are the chances of you getting a graduate assistantship at a professional school is a lot lower than your chances of getting one at a regular university. So a lot of times you are depending on your financial aid, like your student loans, to cover your tuition in a professional school, versus when you go to a regular university, most of the times they set aside assistantships specifically for graduate students to help to waive your tuition, and there are a higher chance of you getting a graduate assistantship. Now the process may be a little bit more competitive because a lot more people are trying to apply for assistantships, but they have a lot more of those available, whereas professional schools, they don't really have a lot of those assistantships available. So you're more than likely gonna have to use just strictly financial aid to pay for your tuition. Now, a pro to going to a professional school is like I mentioned before, that school is specifically for that profession. So the Chicago School of Professional Psychology is strictly for psychology, and they have a ton of programs that a person who is interested in psychology would be interested in doing. And they have them at the master's level and the graduate level as well. So you have kind of like I don't want to use the term endless, but you have a lot more opportunities, whereas a regular university, they just may have like 2 or 3 different programs. Like they may have a school psychology program and a clinical psychology program and maybe a psychobiology program. You know, it's very limited, whereas professional schools, they're literally going to have like 8 different versions of a clinical psychology program, and then you have your school psychology and forensic psychology, and like they have a different variety of different psychology programs. So I will say that is a pro to go into a professional school. You have a lot more options in terms of the different programs that you can enter into, whereas universities, they are limited because they also have to accommodate other types of disciplines and fields and programs and things like that, so they can't really have all of the options out there. Professional school is really just focused on that profession, that psychology field. Now, one con to going to a professional school that I have learned about from a professor of mine is that when you guys are in a doctorate program, I think some graduate programs, at the master's level, do this as well, but you have to do a practicum and you have to be placed somewhere. And one thing that I was told was that when you go to professional schools, a lot of times it is a lot harder to get placed at a practicum site than it would be if you went to a regular university. And a lot of it really has to do with like the relationship with that particular school with other sites, and you also have to consider the amount of people that are in the program. And a lot of these professional schools are in big cities, so that makes it a lot harder to get into practicum sites as well, because everyone is kind of trying to stick within a specific area, so everyone's kind of going to the same practicum site. And then also you have to keep in mind that certain sites have like contracts with the school, and you know, the school may only want you to go to specific sites, and that makes it a whole lot harder when you only have certain sites that you could choose from. Otherwise, you would have to get things approved, and that takes a really long time, and it's just like this really big ordeal. So that's another con to going to a professional school, is that a lot of times it's a lot harder to get placed into a practicum site than it would be if you were to go to like a normal just regular university. Another pro I would say for professional schools is not only do they have a wide variety of programs, a lot of times they also have these programs where you can either choose your PsyD or your PhD. I've talked a little bit about the difference of those two in a few of my videos, but the difference is a PhD is typically more research based and a PsyD is more application based. That's really the difference between the two. Normally at your regular universities, typically they're either going to have like just PhD programs, or they may have one PhD program and one PsyD program, whereas your professional schools, they're going to have like just about every program. You can either get your PhD or your PsyD. So they're pretty good about having like a wide variety of the two. Again, universities have to accommodate different disciplines, and they have to have competent professors who can actually teach those classes. So, but professional schools, all of those professors there are in the psychology field, know what they're doing, they have the credentials, whereas a regular university, they may not have that many psych professors who can teach at the undergraduate level as well as the graduate level, and then teach PhD classes and PsyD classes, So it's kind of like, in terms of the curriculum and things, a professional school seems to be a little bit better because they are really just focused on psychology. Whereas at the regular university, professors are probably teaching undergraduate classes as well as graduate level classes. And it's a little bit harder because you have to have so many graduate level classes and so many you know, graduate level classes, and it's a little bit harder to try to accommodate for everybody, especially when you're talking undergrad, master's, doctorate, versus the professional schools who are probably just having master's and doctorate level students in there. So, you know, that's kind of the pro to going to a professional school, is that it's just a school for graduate students. Versus versus a regular university where you have your undergraduates, you have masters, you have doctorates, and professors kind of have to teach a wide variety, and it's a little bit harder for them to manage that as well. So in terms of which school you should pick, a professional school or a regular university, all depends on what you would like to achieve and what your goal is. Always make sure you do your research on either one. Always make sure you're looking at the curriculum. Make sure that you're looking at the financial aid information, how you would be able to pay for your schooling. Make sure you're looking at the pricing of everything. Location is very important. Is it in a big town or is it in a small town? Because that's going to have an effect on your practicum sites and maybe even like your dissertation if you have to go out into the field and do actual research for your dissertation. If you're in a smaller town, it may be a little bit harder to do that research. So always make sure you're doing your research before you pick a school. Of course, it all depends on what you feel is best in your heart. But these are just some things that I have learned and picked up on the way, not only from just doing my own research, but from some things that I have been told from my professors. My professors actually do not recommend professional schools. Not only are they really expensive, their graduation rates tend to be a little bit lower, primarily because they are so expensive, and it gets to a point where a lot of students cannot finish paying their tuition. So they kind of have to, in a sense, drop out because they can't afford it. So professional schools do have a lower graduation rate than universities do. However, again, it all just depends on your situation. Your financial situation may be a little bit different than someone else's, or you may be a lucky person and you're able to work during your graduate program, or you may even get a graduate assistantship. If you went to a professional school, you may be a lucky person to get one of those and your tuition is waived. So always remember that your situation is different from another person's. That's why it is so important to do your own research and figure things out for yourself. Of course, a lot of the things that I have learned personally has come from my own research, as well as my professors who have PhDs and PsyDs and who have been in the field for 20-30 years. But also at the same time, take what I'm saying and take what they have told me with a grain of salt, and really just kind of do the research yourself and figure out everything for yourself and figure out what the best move for you is going to be. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel before you leave. And also, if you have any other video suggestions, please leave those down in the comments and I will get those filmed for you guys. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next video.